Education plays a transformative role in cultivating peace, especially when mindfulness and empathy are integrated into learning. By teaching students to be present, self-aware, and sensitive to others' emotion, we nurture a new generation of individuals who approach challenges with compassion and understanding. This approach fosters a culture of peace and emotional intelligence, empowering students to become agents of change in a more harmonious world. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's discuss in the panel about education for peace, integrating mindfulness and empathy. Our next panelist is Ms. Aryong Choi-Hantke. She has started yoga in 1996 after recovered her post-traumatic stress disorder in 2001, had established yoga into World Institute of Body and Mind. She is doing interdisciplinary research integrating communication, cultural studies, psychology and yoga therapy, aiming to resolve post-traumatic growth. She finished her PhD programs at School of Media, Hongkong University, Koria. She is founding member of Global Consortium on Yoga Therapy, Vice President of International Association of Integrated Therapy, and member of Asia Yoga Therapy Association. She has taught yoga therapy for the severely developed disabilities, mental disorders, prisoners, terminal cancer patients, the elderly with dementia and hemiplegia after stroke. I feel excited and honored to welcome Mr. Sai Sambat. Mr. Sai Sambat is a servant of the divine with an unwavering commitment to the experiencing wholeness in oneself and others. His psycho-spiritual evaluation spans 3 decades. In the early 1990s, intense process work over 5 years at the Indian Society for Individual and Societal Development enabled him to dissolve much of psychological conditioning and to embark on a lifelong spiritual journey. His close association with realized spiritual masters has provided him with the gift of non-evaluative and non-judgmental awareness and evolved levels of psycho-spiritual, socio-cultural and ecological coherence. Sai has served as the chairman of the Constitution Committee, Indian Society for Individual and Social Development. He was also engaged in community building and marketing development for bell metal craftsmen in Kerala. Sai's professional expertise encompasses learning architecture, leadership development, knowledge management, and organizational development. Sai has served as the head of knowledge management and leadership development in Pegasus Academy and Consulting. Among other things, he has co-created an organizational cone model for achieving value, culture, strategy alignment and collaboration with the client. He has also developed a robust framework for the assessment and alignment of organizational values. As a leadership development and organizational effectiveness consultant, Sai enables people and organizations to discover innate potential and leverage it towards greater efficacy, excellence and results. He is a graduate in production engineering from NIT, Tiruchirappalli and has a master's in HRM and OD from XLRI Jamshedpur. Currently, Sai Sambat serves as a co-founder of Institute of Indic Wisdom. He also serves as a founding member of United Council for Ancient Wisdom. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Sai Sambat. In the panel, we also have with us Ms. Veena Dansinghani, born in India, raised in Hong Kong. She is the director and founder of Alopecia Hair and Therapeutic Yoga and Laughter Therapy, teaching of Naveda Integral Wellness Center in Hong Kong, offering a transformative health experience. It aimed to popularize the Indian ancient wisdom and science to the global platform. She has been spiritually inclined from childhood. She is also a corporate wellness trainer and organizing and delivering health, happiness and wellness workshops around the globe. She has also led some sessions at leading conferences like Women's Extraordinary Forum, CSR, Asia, TEDx Hong Kong, University and Inclusion, and has been an advocate in promoting Work-Life Balance Week, International Happiness Day, World Laughter Day, Ambassador of Global Wellness Day, as well as volunteering a Masters of Ceremony for United Nations Yoga Day, and takes up many leadership roles and initiatives to spread health, happiness, peace, spirituality, and I feel privileged to welcome and introduce Mr. Vijay Sinha, a visionary leader and a firm believer in Level 5 leadership. Currently serves as the Executive Vice President of HR for New Business at JSW Group and $24 billion conglomerate. His stewardship spans across diverse sectors including JSW MG Motors, EV, Cooper, Defense, Realty, JSW One, and JSW Foundation, reflecting his multifaceted leadership. With over 30 years of rich experience across industries such as manufacturing, hospitality, retail, and animation, he has exemplified excellence in every role he has undertaken. A graduate from Xavier Institutes of Management, Bhubaneswar, he began his career with Steel Authority of India Limited and was awarded the prestigious Jawahar Award in 2005 for his contributions to HR at Rourkela Steel Plant. His career trajectory includes senior HR roles at Adnani Power, JSW Steel and JSW Energy, where he pioneered transformative initiatives such as setting up shared services for the JSW Group. His profound contribution extends beyond his corporate responsibility. He has been honored with numerous accolades, including the HR Leadership Award, Indra Super Achievers Award, and the world's greatest CHRO 2016-17. As a thought leader, he regularly shares his insights at prominent forums and education institutions, demonstrating his commitment to fostering the next generation of leaders. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Vijay Sinha. Today's panel discussion will be moderated by Dr. Vikrant Singh Tobar, Convener, United Consciousness. Dr. Tomar is an acknowledged trainer, academician, scholar, writer, and a management consultant. He's a freelance trainer and served the cabinet ministers of state, MLAs, police officers, and tycoons of the business world. His aim and objective is universal brotherhood and happiness through harmonizing the knowledge from the ancient scriptures into our lives. So I welcome all our guests for panel discussion.
Namaste, namaste everybody. We acknowledge your presence. Namaste. Namaste. Aryong ji from South Korea. Namaste. Namaste Veena ji from Hong Kong, and our dear friend Sai ji from India. And all respected audience watching us, will be watching us from different parts of the planet. Dear friends, we are going to have a panel discussion on the topic Education for Peace, integrating mindfulness and empathy. In this panel discussion, we have 4 experts from different parts of the planet, and I will request all the eminent experts to be brief in their answers so that in less time we wish to cover more questions. So that we can take relatively more questions. And dear friends, as we already know, that out of the 5 senses we have, ears is something which we can't control at our wish. We can close our eyes when we want, we can even hold our breath when we want, but ears cannot be controlled. Probably it's a divine message from the divine that if you stop listening, then a place where nobody is listening to each other is a dangerous place to be. Dear friends, we are talking about empathy, being empathetic towards each other. And Aryong ji has done wonderful work in helping people with challenge physical conditions, challenge mental conditions also. So the question, we will begin with you only, Aryong ji. When we talk about mindfulness and empathy, you are working with people with challenge physical mental conditions. How do you define what is mindfulness and what is empathy? One line definition from your side. One line definition for mindfulness, one line for empathy. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for inviting me at this wonderful discussion. I think mindfulness is awareness and acceptance and loving of the present state in our body and mind without any judgment. I had my body turned like a monster with the skin problems from the head to the toes. So at that time, in the beginning, I really scared of my body itself. But later, during meditation overnight, suddenly I started touch my body, and I love you, I love you. And then that was the turning point of my healing. And that because of that, I put the loving in mindfulness in our present situation state without any judgment.
Thank you.
Empathy is I suffered from the many difficulties, but later those sufferings became the source of a wonderful source as the therapist. So I could experience many difficulties. So I share my experiences with my students and clients. So that is empathy.
Thank you very much. As she mentioned, non-judgmental loving is what she defines as mindfulness. And when your suffering leads to sensitivity, it is empathy. Or when you learn being sensitive towards others. Sinha Saab, you work in corporates, you deal with thousands of people. How do you see mindfulness and empathy? And maybe briefly, you can touch upon how relevant you think it is in corporate world also today.
Thank you, Dr. Tomar. In fact, in the corporate world, when we have today a lot of projects going together, and people work on the multiple projects, and I see, because of paucity of time, they are required to do most of the time beyond their normal duty hours. People are a lot more into stress, and when they come to the boardroom or the discussion room, there are a lot of anxieties. And even after working, 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours a day, people are not sure that their position is intact. That's the situation, right? Now, when I joined the discussion, and I saw a lot of anxieties across the teammates, and I felt I always emphasize that they need to take a pause and reflect that whether they are doing right, wrong, unreasonable, reasonable. So when we started doing that, and after every discussion, I introduced people to take a pause and reflect, instead of mindless discussion without reflecting on what is going right and wrong. That changed the situation a lot, and people started feeling better. And from there, we started experiencing, without having any formal education on mindfulness, we started thinking that once you take a pause and reflect on your things which you are doing, that calms you down and that helps you perform better, and you start appreciating the perception of others, and you become a truly inclusive team. So that's how mindfulness is helping us to become truly inclusive, and take the perspective of others when we stop for a moment and start reflecting on the situation and the things.
Thank you, Sinha Saab. You gave emphasis to pause and reflect. As we say in Hindi, Alpa Viram taking a small viram. And that you said being more inclusive, appreciating others' perception. Saiji, you have been an advocate of Vedantic wisdom also. Lots of, in our schools, we had moral science books where we were taught of empathy and other things. I have two questions for you, which you may be briefly reflecting upon. One, do you find that empathy and mindfulness in present generation, present times is going down? Question number one. Question number two, if yes, where have we lost in education? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Vikranji. So if I were to make a generic statement about if it is going down or otherwise, from the what the first panelist said, mindfulness is all about being non-judgmental. So let me not be judgmental about the current generation. So I think current generation has challenges of distraction, especially digital distraction, social media, and things like that, which they bring to the school space. But if you look at, see, I am joining this panel discussion from Ayodhya, and I am working with a school in Ayodhya. And in fact, I was discussing with the school. It's called the Jingle Bell School in Ayodhya. And in fact, in the pre-primary as well as the primary school itself, there is mindfulness being introduced. So very imaginative ways. So I'm giving a existing example rather than giving my opinion. So, like for example, they have fruit meditation, they have body breathing, they have imaginary walk, they have body mindfulness, breathing mindfulness, shape mindfulness. So one part of the school uses it soon after the morning assembly, another one uses it even after a fruit bake. In fact, interestingly, the mindfulness practices after fruit bake is raisin meditation and fruit meditation. So that's the way it has been connected to the students, and the school is clearly reporting better concentration, calmness, a lot of inner discipline and higher self-esteem, and the children are more physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially fit to deal with the challenges there, and a lot of caring and sharing attitude. So I think this covers both mindfulness as a way of gaining inner balance, inner equilibrium, whereby you can be naturally open to others. See, most of the time when I am defensive or I hold myself in low self-esteem, then I have to defend myself. So that means I become close to others, where empathy gets cut off. So here in both the pre-primary section as well as in the primary section, they are reporting children being more give and take and more assured of themselves and things like that. Definitely there is a challenge. I'm not taking it away because I work with the teachers of the school with social media and other things. But I think not only this school, I can quote other schools also, but I think people are paying, as Sinha said, in the corporate, school authorities as well as teachers are paying a lot of attention to ensure that the children are anchored and they are open and they are calm and peaceful in themselves.
Thank you.
So this is what I have, anecdotal, but at the same time, real reporting of what's going on.
So Saiji chose not to judge, but he mentioned that it should be introduced at a very early age in the schools, and how it has worked. He has also given us some empirical evidence of it. Veena ji, your institution talks about wellness. I can read wellness behind you. So in Hong Kong, you are practicing. Hong Kong is a fast-paced city, a big economy, lots of pressure we read in newspapers. So how are you introducing mindfulness to the people, and what are your reflections upon it? Maybe in brief answer.
Yes. So hi everybody. This is Veena from Hong Kong. So as an integral wellness center, we actually are offering a lot of different sort of classes over here. For example, we have a lot of yoga classes, meditation classes. We provide a lot of health educational talks to empower people, to inspire people, to, just to keep learning and even introducing simple practices, whether it is like, dedicated time to like sort of pause and reflect every 1 hour. We have to, it's not easy. Literally, I mean, even me being in the wellness industry, I can tell you being in Hong Kong is a challenge because we are sort of like, it's an energy force over here. When you come into Hong Kong, we automatically move fast. We're doing things fast. We're doing everything faster. Whilst when you're going away to places like India, Bali, Thailand, the pace, just energy just slows down. So you're automatically coming down, but it's coming from Hong Kong. We're moving too fast. So we kind of get to realize that even though being in the wellness industry, I'm still very, 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 very fast. So again, it is putting the whole continuously empowering, inspiring, and arranging and organizing different sorts of community-based activities on wellness-related activities, whether it's yoga, meditation, mindfulness, breathing, sleeping, detoxing from digital, doing a digital detox. It's a continuous reminder, not only to others. I think I do it more for myself, so that I continue to be in that space, because being in Hong Kong, it's very difficult.
Thank you for sharing a couple of things that are being done: digital detox, breathing, community-based interventions. So Aryong ji,
Yes.
you work with people of diverse age group and diverse walks of life. People are watching us from different parts of the world. Importance of empathy is being established. Importance of mindful is being established from many researches. Now the question is not about whether it is good or not. Question is how to install it. So what are the practical methods you are using to install mindfulness in the people you interact with?
Okay, this is a kind of, I have several cases. So when our own mindfulness is important, like that, we also need other person's mindfulness. So as we listen to our own body and mind, we also need to listen to other person's opinions of their own body and mind. So I made kind of a funny word. In yoga, there is third eyes. We need third person's eyes. So in dialect, there is thesis and antithesis, synthesis. So we need to think of our own mindfulness, and then, but when we focus on one part, our body, and we miss other part of our body and mind. So through other person's opinions, we can listen to that part, so we can be balanced. So the minimal elements to make a form is 3 points. So at guna, there is 3 gunas. So the wonderful posture is Sittasana. It has also like a triangle, like that. So I respect Indian philosophy. Everything is 3 points. So like that, we need the 3 persons' eyes when we think of ourselves. So at the yoga programs and practice or counseling, I always try to do that for our mindfulness. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very profound. She said that if you are a non-believer and you don't believe in the third eye here, then she said that take third eye as the third person's view. My thesis, somebody's opinion as antithesis, and the synthesis of what is the bigger picture around. That's very profound. Vijay ji, when we talk about empathy, look, in corporates, you know better than me, it's the same benefit that has to be distributed among the team. So if I will be more empathetic towards you, probably I may lose my promotion. So I may need to be more selfish to project what I am doing and to undermine what you are doing so that I want to get promotion. Do you confront such situations also? And in such challenging and competitive environment, how do you promote empathy?
I do. In fact, such challenges are many, and it used to be there earlier quite a lot, but after we started introducing, the concept of emotional intelligence, emotional quotient, and we started training people, people realize that the best way to handle conflict is to, become non-judgmental and focus on the issues rather than the people. And when the people started realizing this, a lot of productive things started happening. In the organization, I used to see that there'll be a lot of, a lot of differences among the people, not because, they have been developing issues, because of one-upmanship, the syndrome of one-upmanship. When they started, practicing emotional intelligence, the interpersonal relationships improved. And I think
Yes.
the
What word you use? Syndrome? Which syndrome?
one-upmanship, one-upmanship. So people always felt that my idea is better than yours. And that was killing the organization. I think when people started becoming non-judgmental and started focusing on the issues, and practically I have failed. And in the meetings also, I emphasize when the exchanges became very, very, hot, we realized that people need to focus on the issues. And when we started focusing people on the issues, a lot of productive things started happening. And I think of late, mindfulness is nothing but integrating your interpersonal relationships, emotional intelligence, compassion, your feelings, without being non-judgmental, without being judgmental. And once people started practicing it, when people became non-judgmental, they started feeling much better, and meetings became very, very productive. And this is how people are evolving in the corporates today. Corporates are moving more towards meditation. Corporates are moving towards more, because they realize that in the mad rush of becoming vice president or president or CEO, everybody's in the mad rush of that. They realize that they are missing the bigger picture. And then a lot of corporates have started institutionalized meditation practices, mindfulness practices, and I think they realize that this is helping them a lot.
Thank
So
you. Thank you
this is
very
how we
much.
are improving ourselves.
So Vijay Sinha mentioned about the syndrome of one-manship, one-upmanship. So he said that being non-judgmental and fixing the problem, not the person, that really worked for the corporates today. And he said this rat race. So Saiji, in the rat race, the problem is even if you win, you are still a rat. So what you, I know about you, you left your high fast-paced life and you chose to guide us how to be more centered and grounded. What practical tips you would like to give to our audience? How to remain grounded? Not everybody can take sannyasa, but would you like to help them in some karma sannyasa so that they can do better work-life balancing?
Yeah, thank you, Vikrant. So, say, let's look at the interpersonal part. I will build on what Vijay ji said. See, if I have to be grounded, see, the two things happens. I mean, simply put, mindfulness or any meditation makes one more effective and efficient. There is research saying the cognitive brain functions are improved, working memory is improved. So just by doing that, I have more brain capacity and memory available to do whatever I want. So that makes me better centered, better anchored, and grounded to take on whatever challenges rather than facing any challenge in a fragmented manner. So mindfulness definitely brings that in. Now, when we look at empathy, what is popularly looked at is only emotional empathy. We don't pay so much attention to cognitive empathy. See, if my mind is cluttered, there is no way I can bring in cognitive empathy. I'm not even listening what the other person is saying. I'm unable to. It's not that I'm not listening. So from both from cognitive empathy and emotive empathy, being relaxed, what we call the relaxation response, and the parasympathetic nervous system based disposition is what one can make one very grounded. Building on what Vijayji said about not getting caught about who is right, then going to what is right. Let me take it one step further. Say, if you have to choose between being right, being loving, choose loving. See, I know that I am right in this conversation, but in asserting that me being right, probably I will probably emotionally have an impact on the other person, which may not be sustaining, nurturing. So can I choose being loving rather than being right? Can I choose being kind and fair than being right and being evaluative? So this is the way interpersonally I can still feel grounded. It's not for others' benefit, it is for my own benefit. Because I am more, I don't have the cortisol and the adrenaline taking, my system for a ride, but I am more on the other, the empathetic neurons and things like that.
Thank you
That's
very
where
much. Saiji, you mentioned about that even you'll have better hormones within you if you will be more loving, more kind, less judgmental, and develop a cognitive empathy too. So, Veena ji, as you were mentioning about some of the methods that you are adopting in Hong Kong to help people in developing better mindfulness, what are the practical executionable tips if I as an individual I have no exposure to mindfulness? So anything that you would like me to begin with, any quick tips with a person with
Okay.
zero exposure to it?
Yeah, I would say like start small, of course, begin with just maybe 1 to 2 minutes of mindful breathing at least. Teaching people a little bit about, focusing on the breath, mindful breathing, and gradually increasing the breath, the breathing as, you get more comfortable with it. Using everyday activities like practice mindfulness during routine tasks, like even if you're brushing your teeth, like, mindfully brush your teeth, feel the experience of it that you're brushing the teeth. Thank God you have teeth, you're washing the dishes, feel the water, feel each and every metal. Focus on the entire experience. So whether it is eating, whether it is sleeping, or whether taking a shower, like doing everything mindfully, slowly, just being paying a little bit attention to what we're doing. Maybe in using some guided meditation apps to begin with. Set reminders, maybe even writing a journal, So just small, consistent habits which we can incorporate in the beginning, which then becomes extended and more you'll start to enjoy it, you'll experience the benefit, and then you can keep extending it slowly and slowly and getting more deeper and deeper and deeper. But
Thank you very much for lots of tips, practical tips that you suggested. Having a well-being journal, set reminders, guided meditation, savoring also you mentioned. So Aryong ji, you were talking about 3 point of views, and any other method that you will suggest to our audience. Now we are in the last phase of our discussion, so I'll request you to be as brief as possible.
Mhm. Okay, so it is very easy things. So I ask my students to put your hands on your belly, so and then keep breathing. So at that time, you can feel your abdominal movement. So and it made them focus on their own body and mind, and they could be relaxed, calm down their desires. So it was very effective, as although it is very simple.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Belly breathing, keep hand on the breathing and it will help you. Sinha sir, we heard your introduction, you had a long corporate journey. When you faced most difficult situations, how did you center yourself? What was your own personal mantra? Whatever you said is for the corporates that you have been doing, but how did you keep yourself centered? What is your personal mantra? Very briefly, if you can tell us.
So for me, in the most difficult situation ever, in fact, I always went back to the team whenever I face very, very difficult situation, very challenging situation. I'll call my team and entire team, and I'll discuss very openly with them, and that has been the biggest you know uh, panacea for all these situations. That has really helped me, overcome the situations, and I always practice this whenever I am in a very difficult situation. I'll go back to my team and I'll call them, discuss with them, and that really helps.
Perfect. Open discussions.
Very
And
open.
perfect. Thank you very much. Saiji, your own personal mantra for remaining mindful in difficult situations.
So being mindful in difficult situation is to accept that I am also not fully there. In the sense, I am a mixed bag. The other person is also a mixed bag. So can we meet somewhere in the middle ground, kind of stuff. So I will again tag on to what Vijay ji said. I see also he's saying, can I own and demonstrate my own vulnerability with my people so that they experience me as a human, not as a super leader or a super boss or whatever it is. So I think if I am able to hold my vulnerability without shame and guilt in front of others, that's the way I normally do. I don't have all the answers, things like that. I still work with corporates and things like that. So I am open with my total being. So whatever I bring to the table, whatever I don't bring to the table. So both I present. So that's the way. So then the other person becomes a resource and a support, and he adds and make me more whole in the situation or the people around. So I think that's the way I normally stay centered. I don't get into too much of challenging situation given my wiring these days. But if you take, even if it's situation arises, I am totally open about my challenges, vulnerabilities. That makes me handle it fairly in a wholesome manner.
Perfect. Veena ji, the same question to you. What is your personal mantra to be mindful in the difficult situations?
In a difficult situation, definitely, I he said that no, I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers. I reach out. I really like to reach out to people who can support me and say like, hey, nor are you perfect, nor am I perfect. We are all not perfect. Let's learn together. Let's work together, and let's find a solution together. And yeah, let's take a deep breath and laugh. you know.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Veena ji. And dear friends who are watching us from different parts of the world, we had Aryong ji who mentioned about mindfulness is loving, non-judgmental acceptance, and she also mentioned about empathy is when your even suffering makes you sensitive towards the things around and within. She said to install mindfulness. First, it is very much important that you should be demonstrating mindfulness about self, aware of your body and mind. And she said that third person's perspective, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. And in order to do antithesis, you should be very good at listening, and synthesis will make you more balanced. And she mentioned about three gunas, and third person's perspective is very much important. She said belly breathing, it will also help you to be more mindful and to be more centered and grounded. Vijay ji, who comes from corporate background, he mentioned that in multiple projects people are in, that's why it leads to the anxiety and stress. Pause and reflect can be a very strong mantra so that you can see what I am doing, why I am doing. It will make you more grounded. And one most important thing he mentioned is appreciating others' perspective. That he said will make you more inclusive. And inclusivity is empathy. It will, and it will make you mindful also. He said the time has come that we should be more emotionally intelligent, and that can be possible through training. We need to train ourselves in being non-judgmental. He said focus on the problem in your discussions rather than the person. Learn the lesson and forget the person. He said come over this syndrome of one-upmanship and saying that I am holier than thou. He said, for that, it is very much important that we need to be inclusive, appreciating others, open in our discussions. And Sai Ji said that probably he also wanted to add in this, demonstrate your vulnerability. I am also one of you. I also have challenges, and that way we can connect with each other. And that he also mentioned that institutionalize these processes, because people may get transferred, but once it becomes a part of the process, then it remains for long. I'm sure many leaders watching us, it will be a good input for you. Saiji, who has been teaching cut across generations and hierarchies, he said that yes, every generation has its own new challenges, and that's why from the very earlyhood, if the mindfulness can be introduced, he said that body breathing, body mindfulness, mindful walks, fruit mindfulness regarding the fruit, that helps you to be more calmer, increases inner discipline, increases self-discipline. He also mentioned that it helps you to be naturally open for others without any efforts. And he said that for mindfulness, cognitive empathy, emotive empathy is needed. It helps you to develop your parasympathetic nervous system more fast, and then relaxation response also he mentioned that may be helpful. He said who is right is less important than what is right, and at times even being right is less important than when it is a choice between situation and relation. He said choose the relation at times, choose love than being always right, choose being kind than being right, and it really helps. And then he said that understand and accept each other, because we all are the mixture of mistakes, and every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. And Veena ji mentioned about yoga, meditation, and continuous empowerment, community-based activities, breathing, digital detox. Begin with mindfulness, gradually increase it. Go for mindful moments, count your blessings, savoring guided meditation, set reminders, well-being journals. Remember, I am not perfect, nor anybody else. So it is most important that I should not behave to anybody else with I don't like for myself. When I am open for others, others will also open for us. When we smile at life, life smiles at us back. Thank you very much, dear friends, and our August guests from different parts of the world. Thank you very much, Sinha Saab. Thank you very much, Sai Saab. Thank you very much, Aryong ji. Thank you very much, Veena ji. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
It's my